Kaiana was a powerful and charismatic Hawaiian chief whose life unfolded at the turbulent crossroads of revolution, colonization, and betrayal. Born into Hawaiian nobility, Kaiana distinguished himself from both his peers in both presence and bearing. British explorer Captain John Meares, who encountered him in the year 1788, described him as 6 feet and 2 inches tall, with limbs of Herculean proportion. Meares further remarked on Kaiana's regal demeanor, noting that he carried himself with great dignity, having lived in the habit of receiving the respect due to superior rank in his own country. He possessed an air of distinction. Kaiana's life was remarkable not only for his stature and status, but also for his bold ventures beyond the Hawaiian Islands. In the wake of Captain James Cook's fateful arrival in 1779, Kaiana joined British expeditions, travelling to the distant shores including China, the Philippines, and the northwest coast of America. He became one of the first native Hawaiians to journey abroad with Western explorers. His travels captivated the imagination of Europe. Books published in London in the years 1789 and 1790 by Captain Nathaniel Portlock and Captain John Meares recounted Kaiana's voyages, featuring full-page engravings of the striking Hawaiian chief in his feathered cloak, helmet, spear in hand, the very image of strength and nobility. By the early 1790s, Kaiana's name was known across the Pacific. Kaiana is often remembered for his journey to China, as when he returned home, he came bearing weapons and ammunition, an act that significantly bolstered the military campaigns of Kamehameha I, who would go on to become the first king of the Hawaiian Islands. Though his life was cut short, Kaiana left behind a vivid legacy. He features prominently in native Hawaiian oral histories, and no fewer than 12 European visitors wrote of him during the final decade of his life. For a man whose name is now seldom spoken, Kaiana remains one of the most fascinating figures of Hawaii's historic transformation. This is his story. Kaiana was born in around the year 1755, although little is known about the details of his early life. His noble lineage and extensive family ties across the Hawaiian Islands are well documented. His father was the younger son of a ruling chief of Hawaii's largest island, making Kaiana a first cousin to many members of the island's high-ranking nobility. Kaiana also had 2 younger half-brothers. The 3 brothers shared a deep bond and remained closely aligned throughout their lives. All 3 gained renown as fearless warriors, respected and admired throughout the islands. In the year 1783, the 3 brothers served as warrior chiefs in the army of their cousin, King Kahekili of Maui. That year, Kahekili launched a major invasion, sailing from Maui to Molokai and then to Oahu, where he defeated King Kahekili of Oahu. After the victory, many of the Maui chiefs, among them the 3 brothers, remained in Oahu to rule over the conquered land. But tensions soon grew. Within 2 years, the discontented chiefs began secretly planning a rebellion to kill the Maui occupiers and take back control of their island. Some of the Maui chiefs sympathized with their cause and joined the conspiracy, including the 3 brothers. However, the plot was discovered before it could succeed. King Kahekili responded with brutal force, punishing the rebels harshly. The 3 brothers, however, would manage to escape. A year later, in 1786, European ships returned to the Hawaiian Islands for the first time since Captain Cook's voyage. On Christmas Eve, British captains Nathaniel Portlock and George Dixon arrived at one of the islands. There, they were welcomed by Kaiana. By then, he had become a powerful and wealthy chief, surrounded by a large and impressive group of attendants. Though the exact reasons for his departure are unclear, by the time he returned to the Hawaiian Islands a year later, his relationship with King Kaeo the man who had taken him in, had soured. Kaeo had become his sworn enemy, and Kaiana's family had moved far away to avoid conflict with the king. The ship Kaiana sailed on was headed for Asia, but about 6 weeks into the voyage, it was badly damaged in a storm and limped into the port of Macau, a region in China. At Macau, Kaiana reunited with sailors from the ships of Captains Portlock and Dixon, whom he had met before. He found himself among a bustling multicultural community of traders and sailors from England, Portugal, France, Holland, Prussia, Sweden, Denmark, Italy, America, and parts of Asia. The city was filled with shops, Chinese markets, temples, and factories processing goods. Sights that no Hawaiian had seen and lived to describe before. Many a sea captain left behind vivid stories of Kaiana's time in China. He made a striking impression, walking through the streets in his traditional Hawaiian attire. He wore his loincloth, a feathered cape and helmet, and was carrying a spear. His towering presence also frightened many local onlookers. To help him blend in, his English friends gave him a satin waistcoat and trousers, which he soon wore with the ease and comfort of a European gentleman. In Macau, he attended Catholic Mass, carefully copying the postures and movements of the worshippers standing, sitting, and kneeling with sincere curiosity. In the markets, he tried to trade using iron nails, a valuable item in Hawaii. He was deeply moved by the sight of beggars and convinced his English companions to give generously to those in need. Kaiana also had his portrait painted by a well-known Chinese artist. He watched the painting come to life with fascination and was thrilled by the final result. In his leisure time, he found joy in simple pleasures, like playing for hours with 2 white rabbits gifted to him by Captain Cox, crouching low and mimicking their every hop and motion. Kaiana wanted to travel to England, but Captain Meares denied him, fearing he might never find his way back home. But Kaiana was content to head home after his stay on the Chinese coast. Kaiana's return journey began under difficult circumstances. A mutiny broke out among the crew, followed by an outbreak of illness. The ship was also soon caught in a violent storm, which left it badly damaged. As a result, they were forced to sail to the Spanish fort Zamboanga in the Philippines for repairs. While staying in Zamboanga for 2 weeks in February, Kaiana observed how people from so-called civilized nations treated one another. The Spanish offered generous hospitality, treating their guests with kindness and respect, and provided all the help needed to get the ship ready to sail again. After leaving the Philippines, Kaiana had the opportunity to see other Pacific Island peoples, including those of Melanesia and the Palau Islands. Eventually, the ship arrived at Nootka Sound, on the western coast of what is now Vancouver Island in British Columbia. During this leg of the journey, Kaiana encountered various indigenous communities along the Alaskan coast, as well as a few Russian traders. Kaiana spent the months of September and October at Nootka, where Captain Meares had established a trading post or factory. While there, Kaiana passed the time watching carpenters at work, observing how foreign tools and building techniques were used. In the year 1788, Kaiana finally returned home to Hawaii. His arrival was a moment of great excitement. Friends and family crowded onto the ship to welcome him. Even King Kamehameha came to greet the crew, presenting Captain Douglas with a beautiful woven fan and 2 long feathered cloaks as gifts of honor. Within days, Kaiana chose to remain in Hawaii, recognizing the value of a chief who had first-hand experience with the outside world. Kamehameha granted Kaiana a large tract of land. Kaiana had returned not only with stories of distant lands, but with a new place in the shifting political landscape of his homeland. During Captain Douglas's time in Hawaii, he presented King Kahekili, Kamehameha's chief rival at the time, with a pistol, a musket, and a small amount of ammunition. Later, after Douglas returned to the islands, Kamehameha met with him privately, accompanied by only Kaiana. He spoke urgently of his own need for weapons. In response, Captain Douglas gifted Kamehameha a swivel gun, which is a small cannon, and sent his ship's carpenter to help him mount it on one of Kamehameha's large double canoes. It was noted that Kamehameha was continually asking for guns and gunpowder from sailors that visited his island. In the years 1790 and 1791, several European captains, Douglas, James Colnett, Thomas Barnett, and Joseph Ingram, were documented supplying arms to various Hawaiian chiefs. Edward Bell, who arrived with Captain George Vancouver's expedition in the year 1792, expressed frustration over the growing militarization. He noted that Kaiana possessed 4 swivel guns, 6 muskets, and 3 barrels of gunpowder, writing bitterly, "They were given to him by Douglas, Colnett, and shame on them all." It was said that while Kaiana was in China, he studied the art of war. When he returned, he brought with him a substantial amount of muskets, gunpowder, lead, and other military supplies. These weapons, along with others he acquired from visiting ships, were seen by many Hawaiians as the key to his rise in power and influence. Kaiana and his brothers soon found themselves drawn once again into the political and military conflicts of the time. As war leaders under Kamehameha, they joined his campaigns against King Kahekili on the island of Maui. In these tense and shifting times, Kamehameha appointed Kaiana as his chief commander to lead battles against rival chiefs. Amid the fighting, life across the Hawaiian Islands was changing rapidly. A steady stream of European ships brought foreign demands and unfamiliar customs, trading for food, timber, and women, and leaving behind sailors who became part of the chiefs' entourages. They also introduced new tools, cloth, animals, and most significantly firearms. These influences rapidly began to reshape traditional Hawaiian ways of life. Many foreign visitors had already heard of Kaiana before arriving in Hawaii. His reputation made him a central figure in many encounters with passing ships. During the years 1789 to 1792, Kaiana's name appeared in connection with numerous events, sometimes justly, sometimes unjustly. In the journals of that era, he was even accused of plotting to seize as many as 8 visiting ships, though the truth of those claims remains uncertain. Kamehameha set sail from Hawaii with a massive fleet of war canoes, determined to conquer the other islands. Among his warriors were Kaiana and his youngest brother, leading their own contingent of fighters. After laying waste to Maui, the fleet moved on, but when Kamehameha's high chiefs gathered for a war council, Kaiana was left out. Sensing danger, Kaiana feared the chiefs of Hawaii had turned against him. Feeling betrayed and isolated, Kaiana made a bold decision. When the fleet was sailing to attack Oahu, he would sail away and join the enemy army defending the island. The Oahu king he pledged support to was also his cousin, and was the son of the late King Kahekili. Kaiana confided in his wife and shared his plans with her. Though saddened, she chose loyalty to Kamehameha over her husband, and the two parted with a final embrace. Accounts of Kaiana's final moments vary, but all agree he died early in the legendary Battle of Nu'uanu Valley, near a stone wall close to where Queen Emma's summer palace now stands. One story claims Kaiana was struck down by a cannonball. Others say he was wounded by a spear, then beaten to death with a club. Other legends say he was killed by a priest. Another tale says that John Young, a close advisor to Kamehameha, shot and killed him. Captain William Broughton, who visited the islands in the year 1796, reported that 300 of Kaiana's warriors died alongside him. Kamehameha emerged victorious, but the price was high. According to Broughton, 6,000 of his 16,000 warriors perished in the battle. With this hard-won victory, Kamehameha secured control over the islands from Hawaii to Oahu, bringing him one step closer to unifying the entire Hawaiian kingdom. Kaiana's life, like the volcanic lands that birthed him, was shaped by fire, by upheaval, beauty, ambition, and betrayal. He was a man of towering presence and deep complexity, caught between two worlds, the ancient traditions of his ancestors and the rising tide of foreign influence that would forever change the Hawaiian Islands. His legacy is complex. In his own time, he was both celebrated and feared, admired and misunderstood. His name appeared in foreign logs and native chants, in accusations of conspiracy and in songs of mourning. He was called ambitious, defiant, and even dangerous, but also courageous, a visionary, and an unforgettable human. I would like to give a huge thank you to all of my members. Your contribution is valuable to the continuation of the channel, and I appreciate you all immensely. A special thank you to John Seitz. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you all next week for another History Profile.